Elite Facts presents
Incredible facts about Shaolin monks that you need to know.
5.
The origins. You don't need us to tell you how old the way of the Shaolin is. However, we don't know how old it really is. Sure, it's easy to just brush it off and say that, oh yeah, the Shaolin have been around for centuries. But when it comes to the exact year or even century, hell, even time period that the practice first came into effect, it's a mystery. However, the evidence we do have in terms of how long the Shaolin have been around for is definitely something worth noting, as the oldest evidence of Shaolin participation in combat is from 728 AD that attests to two occasions, a defense of the monastery from bandits, where it's believed that this evidence is from the year 610 AD. The other piece of evidence is believed to have come from the year 621 AD, 11 years later, as it documents their role in the defeat of Wang Shang at the Battle of Hulao. But from the looks of this evidence, it would seem as though the Shaolin were pretty established at this point.
4.
Shaolin helped find an imperial dynasty. This is a well-known fact among those interested in the history of the Shaolin. However, if you don't know it, it's something you're going to want to hear, as it's very fascinating. So following the fall of the Sui dynasty around 618 AD, several noble houses began to fight for control of the crumbling empire. A former Sui general, Wang Shishang, took the territory of Zheng and built a military encampment at Mount Hanyan to strengthen his position. He sent an army to lay siege to the Shaolin monastery in order to avoid its rebellion. However, the monks of Shaolin pledged allegiance to his rival, Li Yuang, the future founder of the Tang dynasty. With both sides working together, they both pooled both of their resources and efforts together in order to overthrow Wang Shishang. Once he was given the boot, to put it very lightly for you, the combined forces known as the Tang dynasty took control over China before being overthrown and succeeded by the later Liang.
3.
The origins of tea. Alright, tea lovers, we think you all need to give a big thank you to the Shaolin for this one. So as many of you know, tea is one of the most popular choices of beverages in China. However, it isn't because it tastes delicious, although that does help a lot. But it's more about the history that surrounds it, as you'd surely expect to find interesting tales and myths explaining the origin of tea. One of these myths, which is probably one of the more popular theories we might add, revolves around Shaolin. As the story goes, one of the founding monks, Bodhidharma, traveled from India to China with the main aim of spreading the teachings of Buddhism. The legend states that Bodhidharma stayed in a cave near a Shaolin temple for approximately 9 years without even having a glimpse of sunlight. It was said that during his 9-year absence from civilization, he did nothing but meditate with his eyes wide open. Bear in mind, he did this without any food or water at his disposal. It was said that after a few years, he decided to repeat his grueling meditation tactics, but soon realized that he couldn't maintain the strict regimen and would start dozing off all the time. It got to a point where he found himself incredibly frustrated with his inability to keep his eyes open for an extended period of time. So he took drastic methods. He removed both of his eyelids so that he could never sleep. Gruesome, we know. However, to his surprise, a plant grew on the ground where he threw his eyelid. The dedicated monk soon realized that the plant had the power to help him stay awake. This is said to be the origin of tea, a point that Shaolin monks always try to justify with the fact that dried tea leaves often look like a withered eyelid. Well, we're sorry if that ruins tea for you, but don't worry, there's still coffee if you need your caffeine in the morning.
2.
Star Wars. As if the influence wasn't blatant enough, Shaolin monks actually had a major role when it came to the development of the Star Wars universe. The creator of the much-beloved franchise himself, George Lucas, has done little to hide the similarities between the real-life Shaolin and fictional Jedi. In fact, Lucas derived the concept of an all-encompassing force within each living being from the Shaolin concept of Qi. To give you a better understanding of Qi, Shaolin monks tend to use the concept of Qi to enhance their superhuman physical expertise, much like the Force to a certain extent in the Star Wars universe. If you look closely, you'll realize that Jedi's lightsaber fighting style is akin to the acrobatic fighting styles of the Shaolin monks, especially when they use double-edged swords. Does that sound familiar? But this goes further than the similarities between Qi and the Force. The beliefs of Shaolin monks were also something that was translated to the Jedi. Take, for example, the fact that both the Shaolin and Jedi believe in the use of Force only when necessary, as well as abstinence from worldly pleasures. The similarities even extend out the history behind the Shaolin, as the Jedi's struggle with Emperor Palpatine and the Empire as a whole bears a striking resemblance to that of the conflict between Shaolin monks and the Qing dynasty. For instance, Palpatine issued an order to Anakin Skywalker to attack Jedi Temple and butcher younglings, just in the same way the Qing Emperor ordered the destruction of Shaolin temples and the massacre of its inhabitants. But in the end, Jedi emerged victorious, in the same way the Shaolin monks did. Needless to say, the comparisons are there, and they are striking. Without the Shaolin and their vast history and practices, we wouldn't have Star Wars. Or at least we wouldn't have the Star Wars we all know and love.
1.
The story of Sangchao and Bajrapani. Now this one is a bit of a strange one. So much like any religion, Shaolin monks are known for their love of deva, or godlike beings, very much like Christians or Muslims adore their saints. And much like with saints belonging to other religions, Shaolin monks have numerous stories surrounding their saints. One such story revolves around Bodhisattva Bajrapani, who has many weird tales about him, but notably when he jumped in and saved a fellow young monk who was being bullied by his peers. The monk in question was named Sangchao. Sangchao suffered daily harassment from his fellow peers to the point where he simply couldn't withstand it any longer. His answer to his problems lied in the temple in which Bajrapani was stationed, as he traveled there to seek out a divine intervention. While at the temple, Sangchao prayed for 6 days and 6 nights without any resources to sustain him, such as food or water. On the 6th and final night of his prayers, Bajrapani appeared to him and asked Sangchao whether he wanted to become stronger. When the offer was made by Bajrapani, Sangchao wasted no time and agreed to the offer made. Now, this sounds like an amazing but pretty standard tale. You know, boy goes on a spiritual quest in order to reach some sort of enlightenment. Well, it's a good tale, but it seems pretty standard. But we didn't tell you the strange part. So Sangchao agreed to Bajrapani's offer to become stronger. However, Sangchao was shocked and horrified when Bajrapani raised a full bowl of meat and asked him to eat it. Strange offering, but what makes this even stranger is the fact that monks weren't allowed to eat meat. Thus, Sangchao refused to eat the bowl. And then things took a dark turn. Offended by his refusal, Bajrapani decided that he wasn't going to have this kid waste his time. Bajrapani took out his knife and forced Sangchao to eat the entire meal, lest he face the wrath of the vicious Deva. Sounds pretty scary, right? Well, as it turns out, this actually worked. Once Sangchao returned to his own station, he was attacked by those who bullied him originally. However, things were a little bit different this time, as Sangchao exhibited unexpected combat skills and physical strength. With these new attributes, he easily defeated his bullies. Because he made an example of those who had bullied him prior to his journey, the bullying had to stop. But while that sounds like a nice end to the tale, things only got better for Sangchao thereafter, as he would eventually become one of the greatest martial artists of his time, as he also gained abilities such as wall running and the ability to jump several meters high off the ground and lift and break the heaviest and most solid of objects with his bare hands. All of this was thanks to Bajrapani's intervention through the forbidden bowl of steaming meat. Hey, that's protein for you. And that's our list. Did we leave anything out that you know about? Let us know in the comment section below. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.